Good morning. This is Kyle Viola coming at you with another video. Coffee and Jesus. Here we go. So, today we're going to meditate on the fear of the Lord. I love this subject because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. That's what it says in Proverbs 1:7 in most translations. I want to jump to Psalm 111, verse 10. It says this: "Where can wisdom be found? It is born in the fear of God." And I believe even in my journey, when I encountered the fear of the Lord, it was also an encounter and a seeking and a start of revelation and wisdom and knowledge of God, and really walking in a way where God is speaking to me and showing me things about myself, about my future, about the world, and it's the beginning of knowledge. It's the beginning of wisdom. So it's people will say that you have to get knowledge and wisdom. Now the world has its standard, and they're very clever, and they think they know a certain thing, but they don't know everything. Mankind will never know all things. Only God knows all things. In fact, all knowledge and wisdom and understanding comes from God, our Creator. So it says this: "Where can wisdom be found? It is born in the fear of God." So the fear of God is very good. It is very healthy. It's where wisdom is actually found. It's the beginning of knowledge. Everyone who follows his ways, following the ways of God, will never lack his living understanding. So that means we have to follow him. Following Jesus. Jesus always told everyone, pick up your cross and follow me. Sell all your stuff and follow me. It's a following is actually like a walk where you take steps to follow. So following God, following Jesus. So how do you follow? You actually seek him. It says, "Those who seek me will find me." If you seek with all your heart, mind, and soul. Love God with all your heart, mind, and soul. So we have to seek and follow him. And the adoration of God will abide throughout eternity. That's actually the fear of the Lord, is also adoration. Adoration of the one true God, the Creator. You look up at the stars and you just get mind blown at how vast the universe is, and we're so small here on earth. But you think that we're small, but God put a valuable price for you. In fact, it's priceless. God sent his own son to die on the cross for you. That means you are extremely valuable. And yet this vast universe of all creation, he gives us value. He calls us sons and daughters of the Most High God, our Father. Proverbs 1:7. Now it says in most translations, it says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. This is what the Passion Translation says. "How then does a man gain the essence of wisdom? We cross the threshold of true knowledge when we live in obedient devotion to God." So that's also speaking about the fear of the Lord. That's the translation of the fear of the Lord in the Aramaic. It says here down in the footnote, many translations render this fear of the Lord. This is much more than the English concept of fear. It also implies submission, awe, worship, and reverence. The Hebrew word used here is found 14 times in Proverbs. And the number 14 represents spiritual perfection. So the fear of the Lord, there's a spiritual perfection in the fear of the Lord. And that's why Proverbs talks about it 14 times. And then it says this: the number 14 is mentioned 3 times in the genealogy of Jesus. It is also the number of Passover. The number of Passover. You will pass from darkness to wisdom's light by the fear of the Lord. So the fear of the Lord is very, very important. All right, so Proverbs 9 says this in verse 10. The starting point for acquiring wisdom is to be consumed with awe as you worship Jehovah God. It's still talking about the fear of the Lord, but this Aramaic translation is giving you another angle. Okay, so the starting point for acquiring wisdom is to be consumed with awe as you worship Jehovah God. Consumed with awe, reverence of God. To receive the revelation of the Holy One, you must come to the one who has living understanding. Wisdom will extend your life. I mean, doesn't that make sense? If you have wisdom, your life is extended. You get knowledge, you have discernment, extending your life, making every year more fruitful than the one before. So seek wisdom and living understanding from the one who gives living understanding. So it is your advantage to be wise, but to ignore the counsel of wisdom is to invite trouble into your life. I also looked up Proverbs 19. I believe I was looking at here. Oh gosh, there's so much here. When you live a life of abandoned love, this is Proverbs 19:23. Living a life of abandoned love, surrendered before the awe of God. So there's a surrendering. Here's what you'll experience: abundant life, continual protection, and complete satisfaction. This is the translation in the TPT. And so there's actually abundant life in the fear of the Lord. Do you see how important the fear of the Lord is? Not very much teachings are out there that talks about the fear of the Lord. But there's actually I'm reminded as well, in Isaiah prophesies about the Holy Spirit, and that the Holy Spirit is a sevenfold spirit. In Revelation, the book of Revelation will actually say this too, the sevenfold spirit. Well, in Isaiah, he actually states the characteristics of the Holy Spirit: the spirit of rest, the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of knowledge, the spirit of understanding, and the fear of the Lord, the spirit of the fear of the Lord. So the fear of the Lord is actually the last part of the sevenfold spirit. But I believe it's the most important part of the whole Holy Spirit, because, if you're not walking in the fear of the Lord, are you yielding to the Holy Spirit? Now, God is love. He loves you. But there's also this part of him of holiness, and just him as a character is almighty. He's so massively awesome that there is this fear when you come into his presence. Now, it's not a fear of punishment. That's not what it is. The fear is this reverence of how awesome and big our God really is. But the fear of the Lord will also give you conviction to live rightly, to make decisions where you're not doing evil things, because that's also what the fear of the Lord is. The fear of the Lord and wisdom and knowledge is actually turning away from evil. That's what Proverbs will actually talk about too. So the fear of the Lord will also keep you from sinning, keep you from yielding to temptation. I was actually hearing, or I saw that there are Christians who will yield to the flesh, to pornography, for example. Apparently, the study said that those Christians who prayed were 60% less likely to fall into pornography consumption. So prayer is just a part of this walk in the fear of the Lord, because you're praying to God. You keep engaging in God, and it's a walk with him. So it's that step, taking steps in following God. That's also just part of the fear of the Lord, is you want to keep yourself in check with him. You're checking in with him continuously, and I believe that will help you also in every single day life. So I hope this encourages you in understanding the fear of the Lord and meditating on the fear of the Lord and walking in the fear of the Lord, because it's important. It's going to change your life if you really take it seriously. So God bless you. I hope this encourages you, and I will see you next time. Peace.